All right, Miki War, the man behind m.i.k.i. Thank you for coming in and sitting down on Game Changers.
No, thanks for having me, man.
I've known you for a few years now, probably maybe 2-3 years. I think I met at Power 106.
Yep.
And you've, in that time, you know, built this shoe and this retail, like, I want to say empire under yourself that is kind of like separating you from the smaller boutique stores, and you're building something that has this kind of like cult following. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to sit down with you and really have this conversation, because there's so many people out there that shoes is their life.
Right.
And you run into that, I'm sure,
daily,
on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that, you know, there are many places that you can find a career and that you can find your passion and really turn it into something that you can do for your life and be happy.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to sit down with you, because your story, from what I know and from what I kind of want to delve into, is one of, you know, like success, and one that is you get to be around great people and be around shoes on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So let's kind of first start, and just before we kind of take the back step and get into, you know, how you got into shoes and whatnot, I want to kind of know about like what m.i.k.i is about right now and what's going on with the brand.
So m.i.k.i, I mean, at the moment, our full name, Magnolia Park, right? Which is actually comes from the neighborhood that our flagship store is at in Burbank. Hence Power 106. All the family in the neighborhood, and it comes from the idea of community. Like, I grew up, probably since I was like 8 or 9 years old, I would play basketball or baseball at the local rec center. Yeah. And it was just where, you know, you would go see all your friends and build this camaraderie. You go play a game, and then you got your Capri Suns and chips. And like,
for real.
You know, parents are barbecuing and doing random piñatas just because it's a Sunday. Yeah. And the idea of a park, you know, community, somewhere where you feel at home, that's what Magnolia Park actually really stands for. Not just where we were geographically, but it's about that what resonates with you.
Kind of bringing people together.
Yeah.
Because I remember that as a kid, you know, the park was where you would meet up with your friends, or your mom would be like, oh, we're going to the park to meet up with so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah. Bring the ball, bring your bikes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and everybody has their different experiences. Like for us, like even we had a friend who like had a house like right near the park, and the after party would go there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mom's drinking wine coolers, dads with their beers, and carne asada going in the grill.
It was always the spot where you would meet, like when I feel like I was when like 16, 17, you'd like hit the girls, and you'd like steal a couple of beers out of the fridge or some wine coolers and whatnot, and you'd be like, meet me at the park, and you'd be sitting in this dark park, and just like, like that's the only place you had that you felt like there was no adult supervision on you at the time.
Right. And so, you know, as you level up throughout the years, it all just kind of follows through. And, you know, generations, my brother also the same, you know, my little brother, he'd grow up through that. And I think at the end of the day, like what we wanted to stand for was just a sense of community, and that either that meant in sneakers, or it meant in apparel or basketball or DJ booth, you know, like all those things are a part or elements of m.i.k.i, you know. And the reality is, like, the first store was a reflection of essentially my entire like life, right? Like it started through basketball. Yeah.
Because I think, well, the only two stores I've been in or I've seen are the Burbank one and then the Topanga Mall one. Okay. Both have basketball hoops in there.
Topanga's got a full court.
There's a full court in there, which wild. is so. I think for the culture, it's something that you walk in and it makes you feel like you're not in a store. You know, it makes you feel like you're in a place where you can just hang out and chat with friends or talk to the people that are working there.
So, you know, what's funny about you bringing that up is that not feeling like a store is because at one point we did hire a professional like retail analyst, and like she came from New York. We had to put her up, like pay her a nice check for 2 days worth of work. Yeah. And she murdered us on having a basketball court in the first store. And she's like,
telling you not to have it?
Right. Well, not necessarily not have it, but the fact that we didn't merchandise it. Because retail, typically, people analyze your dollar per square foot.
For sure.
And it's all analytics, and I respect it. But, like, you can't put a price on the vibe, you know?
Definitely.
And so, like, when we did the full cord, it was one of those things where it's like people are so used to having racks in the middle and having as much merchandise out. For me, it's like, I don't like, yeah, sure, some of that, it does make sense on the business side.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can put a price on the experience. And we're about experience. And
Definitely.
I think that's why people kind of connect with us. And it's really what we preach, or I preach to our staff, you know, and I think it shows. And talking on Topanga, you know, putting the full core, honestly, we started with our first store in Burbank. That was the very first one, August 2015.
Crazy.
So not that long ago.
No, and that's and that's the insane thing to look at, because you know the shoe culture has been booming for years and years and years, and there's all these like small stores that do consignment, they do new shoes, but they usually stay in one or two spots. You know what I mean? Like you don't see them, and you have, you know, 5 stores now, 4 or 5 stores now, 5 stores now since 2015. It's only 3 years.
Yeah, not even.
Not even 2.5 years.
We'll get to celebrate our 3-year anniversary this August. So, and look, I don't think anybody's doing it wrong, and I don't think necessarily anybody's doing it right. Everybody has their own way, their own lane, and how they want to do things.
Yeah,
I think it's incredibly smart to have one location and a super strong spot and all that. But then there's also ways where, you know, if the demand follows and your brand represents itself in a manner where people want to go there. I've seen where people from out of the country will come and be like, oh, I just went to all of them.
Wow.
In California. You know, like I've had parents like, you know, like I brought him out here to go to Disneyland, but he wanted to come here first.
That's crazy.
Like,
well, that's the social media culture, though, because it's so easy to stay connected to a store or to influencers that shop at your stores, that people from Australia, people from Indonesia, people from the UK can see it and be like, when I go to LA, Mag Park is where I want to go.
Yeah.
How does that feel to know that you're in that kind of talk, in that chatter?
I mean, saying it's a blessing it doesn't do it justice. Like, I've been a firm believer of just doing things right, no shortcuts, like just continue to do what you do and everything else will take care of itself in the end. And I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of great people of influence, you know, people that I've connected with, not because who they were, but just because I knew who their soul was. You know, that's what it's about for me. And I've never, because at the end of the day, like, this whole industry, not just like sneakers, but you know, music and different things like that, like so many people are getting paid off to like kick it
for real
together.
You
know what I mean? Like it's not like the precious, beautiful, shiny, polished world that people want to project, but like, man, there's tons of people getting paid to do whatever they got to do. And I'm not saying we've never given a gift to someone or we've never like done that, but outside of even the business side, like if people need anything from me, that includes my staff, that includes my friends, that includes any person that's ever worked with us, like I'm never like the guy to be like, yo, I'm not on the clock. Yeah. Because it's not that way. Like when you operate and you know, I'm fortunate enough to own a business, like I'm not taking for granted the opportunities and relationships that I've developed over time over my comfort. No, of course not. Like I'm not comfortable. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like every day I wake up and that's the first thing I'm thinking about. And then I think that's a part of people that strive forward and really like try to make change in their industry are people that are not okay with being comfortable, you know, and that comes up in this seat a lot of the time is like, as soon as I feel comfortable is where I need to light a fire under myself, because that's the moment where you plateau when someone else makes the decision or makes a decision, something to take over what you're doing. Right. You know, and waking up every day and wanting to do better and to make sure your customers and your friends that are the reason behind your success is very important. Oh, 100%. My pastor, shout out to my pastor, he had this great message around comfortably uncomfortable. Because if you anticipate it and you already mentally prepare for it, which preparation is sometimes undermined because like it can do so much when things go wrong. Of course. Right? If you anticipate the speed bumps, you anticipate the wrong turn, right? You're ready for it. Yeah. The longer you spend worrying about it is the longer you're going to spend not getting around it. And I think every day I expect the challenge. I hope for a challenge because that's really what helps you thrive more, right?
That's a great way to think about it, because people always say stay prepared for the moment where you get the opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
But they don't also say stay prepared for the moment when you're going to be challenged
or fail.
Failure
is the biggest blessing, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I for a fact feel like my failures have determined how far I've gotten more than any success.
Yeah.
Or any positive comment or any other thing. Like the positive comments we appreciate, we welcome, will continue to go. But even with the trolls, even with the comments, like if you can kind of pick out what really has value there and learn and improve, because nobody's perfect. Like you can't expect anybody to be perfect these days. Like everybody's in a microscope. Everybody's doing their own thing. Like somebody's gonna mess up.
Of course.
And I think for us, it's that, you know, coming from a sports background, playing basketball and baseball. Like I had a lot of coaches who yelled. Yeah. Right. And there's a lot of ugly words and thorns around the words that they would tell you. But if you like really paid attention, because number one, if a coach didn't yell at you, he didn't care about you. Yeah. Because he knows there's something there. There's potential. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, you got to let all the other like smoke and mirrors get past you so you can pick out what he's really trying to say. Yeah. And that's where, with us, in this world of social media, in this world of everybody has a voice, right? And I'm quick to block.
Yeah. Like, you need to. You have to, though.
Zero tolerance on
Mickey's got the zero tolerance block policy. Yo, one strike, you're out.
If you get out of line, like on some just like, it's just to be, you know, out of line or say something derogatory or racist or anything like that. At that point, it's like, yo, you're tripping. You have no sense. Why should I even speak to you?
For sure.
But someone who is saying something like, if they have an issue with a price of a shoe, if they have an issue of how we marketed something, or you know they want to see a giveaway, whatever, like things like that, you know, we do take that into consideration and we take a look and like, okay, like he might have said it wrong. Yeah. But I don't know what tone he said it in. So let's see what that really means for us and how can we become better every day. You know, so.
Something that you must deal with a lot, and I know that a lot, I've worked in retail, I've worked in management, those kind of areas. Finding good staff. Yeah. I always say your brand is only as good as your worst staff member. Yeah. Because they are the representation of your brand when you're not there.
100%.
How do you manage? Because I've been to a couple of your stores, and the people that I've interacted with there have always been great and helpful and, you know, really knowledgeable about the culture. Yeah. How do you manage to put these people in the right places?
So, man, if there was like a list of things that I'm super proud of, is definitely the staff that we have. We spoke about it just before we started talking. Yeah. But the reality is we do have this sense of like a way of thinking, a way of speaking, and a level of respect that is needed, you know, vice versa, right, between our clients and everybody else. And when we, you know, I'm fortunate enough to have guys who have been with me since day one and day zero. You know, like guys who sacrificed, worked 2 jobs, would come and intern with us, and, you know, do the most just to be a part of what m.i.k.i became. Because even before m.i.k.i, it was we were something else. Yeah. And they believed in that, and now, you know, I got to give a lot of props even to my boy Steven, who's like my right-hand guy. Like literally, you know, God forbid I passed away. Like that's the kid who could literally like run the place flawlessly. Yeah. And I would trust that. Yeah. And he would take the brand where it needs to go. But that starts with us, right? Myself, him, and what we believe in and how we carry ourselves in the store, you know? It's funny because one of the things that I have to leave my staff with always, and if I could give a sense of advice to a young kid who's ever like, yo, I want to work at m.i.k.i. Yeah. Because we get that every day.
Oh, right? I'm sure. Every kid that loves shoes, that's like your dream job, is working in a store where you get to sell and be around awesome shoes and basketball court. Yeah. Come on.
And it sucks because, you know, sometimes you want to limit how too big of a fan someone may be, because they might get lost in the sauce of a day, or some a VIP might come in and
for sure you got to be very careful about those, and you can pick those personalities.
Exactly. So I think one of the things I always leave them with, at least on a daily, is just, no matter what's going on in your life, like, you got to remember you're representing the brand.
Smart.
That means here and outside.
Yeah.
If something happens, like, and I'm not saying anything like happens personally, right? Like, things happen all the time. My door is always open to anybody for advice or conversations.
Yeah.
But, if you got to, I don't know, you were driving to the store, you're running late for your shift, and you got a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah. No, for real.
Because what happens is, now you had a bad day, right? But you're starting your shift, so it's a long day. And if you project that energy, like, you're mad.
Yeah, you're going to have a first-time customer come into the store, and you're not going to give them the service that they deserve, and they're going to leave, and the representation is not on the person.
Yeah.
They won't remember the name of the person, but they'll remember the store they went into.
Yeah, exactly. Or just to that level, right? Even getting frustrated, let's say, with someone who is not knowledgeable on our business model, right? We're a consignment, or primarily a resale sneaker store, an apparel store.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we'll have situations where a prior consignor or client will leave the receipt in the box, right? Because they paid retail.
Gotcha.
And then it's being marked up
Yeah.
by the consignor or us based on the market.
Yeah.
And if somebody comes in, and I'm bringing this up because I saw it on a Yelp review.
Okay.
And I had a mom complain that we overcharged her because she saw the receipt inside the box.
Yeah.
And it's not her fault. She just doesn't know
she doesn't understand the culture and how it works.
Right. And so if someone in the store asks that question, instead of like looking at him like, yo, you're dumb, right? Like, why are you even shopping here? Right. Yeah. Not to say that we've ever had somebody like that react that way.
Yeah.
But you have to have the patience. You have to, like,
of course,
to explain it and understand the culture and
if you explain it, it makes sense. You know what I mean? There's a supply and there's a demand, and the way it works is there are no more of these shoes being made right now, so the shoe is worth more than it was when it first came out.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a very good point to make on how, and I always say this to even interns that work with us at the station, come in. And you kind of have to put your rest of your life outside the door, unless it's a situation where it's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't even be at the store today or at the station today. Otherwise, it is, you come in and you have to put it aside. And we're very lucky. I feel like we get to work in industries that are fun.
Yeah,
100%. We ain't in there crunching numbers and freaking sitting in these like closed boxes where you don't have any like light or anything.
It's hot outside.
Yeah.
Like, we ain't working outside. You know what I mean?
For real. I drive past people all the time working working on the streets, doing road work. I'm like, yo, props to those people, because I wasn't made for that.
Yeah. No, me either.
So let's take a step back and I want to find where your love for sneakers and that culture kind of starts, and where it starts to blend into an area where you decide that you can make money from this and turn it into a business.
Yeah, what's crazy is so prior to the sneaker business, I was a DJ.
Yes.
And I DJ'd for about 12 years. Yeah. And had great opportunities. Had a really great year where I finally broke out of LA and got to headline Vegas and getting a digital billboard was such a big deal for me at the time, right?
Well, that is still it's a huge deal, because I've been out there with DJs that are out there billboards, and it can become the norm.
Yeah.
But I feel like you always have to take the step back and really appreciate you're up on a fucking billboard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, in Vegas,
in
the
Vegas,
whole vibe. I was
for most DJs, that's the goal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And for me, it was all right, cool. I got here. How do I feel? Where's my soul?
Yeah.
Am I happy? And a lot of those questions were coming up at the time, and I think I try to analyze those things and kind of do a annual checkpoint, around my birthday, and just look at, okay, how was this year? where am I headed? Where's my head at?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think I just got to that point where I was like, man, like so many temptations, whether it, the alcohol, the late nights, the unhealthy eating. I mean, the unhealthy eating probably still continues.
Yeah.
Because the hours are still crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
You ain't get these curves not eating right.
Yeah.
But that's my next year's goal. We'll figure that out. But anyway.
Yeah.
It's just it's intense, mentally, physically, spiritually. And I just needed a shift in my life, and that's when my little brother Andy reached out to me and said, hey man, like I know you want to get out of this DJ thing. I have this idea. And he had been running this clothing brand called We Are Royalty.
Okay, yeah.
It was short for war, or long for war.
Yeah.
And which is our last name in Spanish.
Okay.
Guerra. And so that's why my DJ name is Mickey War.
Got it.
Yeah.
See, I was gonna ask it, but I'm glad you brought it up and told it without me asking it.
So that's where it came from, and then Andy developed this brand that was like very nostalgic to like our like how we grew up, and did a bunch of designs like around Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and things like that nature. And he had a nice little buzz. He was selling tees out of the trunk of his car at college, and then he's like, "Yo, like I want to open this store." And it'll be around the brand, and we'll carry other brands, and we'll go from there. Yeah. And this was like 2013.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, like I'm in. Yeah. Like let's do it. I'll stop DJing. I'll like slow down, but I'll focus on getting this thing done. Dude, I had no idea how to run a store.
I was just gonna say at that stage you've just gotten to Vegas, you've finally broken into the market, and now you're making the decision. Okay, I'm out of that. I want to get into retail. How's that decision and like your mentality right there?
It's difficult, man. It was tough. I can definitely say, I was in a dark time trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I made a decision to walk away from DJing right when I was like, like I'm making some progress. Yeah. And do I regret anything? No. Do I wish I had a smoother transition? As a DJ, I would expect it to be smarter. Smoother. But no, I
ironically
slammed right into this other world, and just I don't know, just jumped in the deep end, and it was a tough time, man. Like it was trying to figure it out. I wasn't paying myself, and it was just figure this thing out. Yeah. And I didn't know, I didn't know anything. I've never gone to like a retail display store. And it's just crazy. And we opened it up where we grew up in Granada Hills, California. Yeah. The shop, went on for like 6 months, and I can speak about all this stuff confidently now because it's just it's a thing of the past, and I'm happy where it took us. But like when you work with family, there's times where things get tough. For real. And sometimes it'll really test your relationship. And even with my brother and I, it's like, I can recall a solid like 3 or 4 times we wanted to fight. For sure. Oh, straight up. Like just, you're not doing this, or I'm not doing that, or you're not around.
Well, because for family, you can take it to that next level. When it's only business partners or people you work with, there's a level where you have to take that disconnect and you stop it there. But family, you've had fights from the age of 2, 3, 4. If we want to get physical, we will.
Yeah. So the store not working out, actually, it was something that was a huge like blessing to our relationship, because it made us stronger, like learning the lesson and moving on. And so he went on and got promoted in his corporate job. Yeah. And he's been killing it for years. Awesome. Purchased a house, sold the house. Like he's younger than me. I haven't even bought my first house. So like,
I feel you. My little brother just got the best job up in Silicon Valley. I'm like, I might be getting a loan off you sometime soon, bro.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so, it's one of those things where it's like, like I more power to him. And then it was just time for me to figure some stuff out. And so when I was kind of into the apparel business and transitioning out of DJing, my at the time manager, shout out to Adam, he's still doing his thing. Adam Contreras in the nightlife game.
Yeah.
But he was up on J's, and we would literally. I used to manage this nightclub in Universal City, Fusion Lounge.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
When I used to book all the DJs and stuff over there, and so like we'd go out, like have a wild night.
Yeah.
Drive 7 minutes to my crib.
Yeah.
And everybody would just stay over. And at 5 a.m, I think it was like they were dropping J's like at 8 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And we were all up 5 o'clock in the morning, like 3 iPads, 4 laptops, like
it's crazy,
bro. Like at that time, it's 2012.
Mm-hmm.
We're all trying to buy Jordans, right? And that's where I started to like really see, okay, like sneakers have this like value.
Yeah.
So how can I turn this into something else? Maybe down the road. At the time, I was just like, I just want to collect them all.
Yeah.
I want all the J's.
I've never seen any, like, I've never really seen, you walk into like a lot of people's houses and you see rooms and they're just full of shoes.
Yeah.
Like, I never really see people collecting things that they give up a room in their house for. I gotta have a two-bedroom house,
right?
One for my bed and one for my shoes.
Right, one's for everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and like I had a closet in a different room.
Yeah,
that was like essentially a studio and a closet.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to that point where it's like, okay, I couldn't wear them. I didn't get to wear them all.
Yeah.
And so when we opened this new store, I honestly put a shoe out that I was like, you know what, I can't sell a shoe.
Yeah.
Online, I've never heard of these other consignment stores.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put the shoe on the shelf, and we were next to a high school, and kids just kept asking about the shoe, and it wasn't their size, and I had it up for like cheap, and everybody's like, man, that's a good deal, and I was like, man, I bought it for like $50 less, like it's a good deal at that price, and they're like, yeah. He's like, you should take it to this place, or you should just launch your own thing, and I was like, huh, and so I linked up with someone that eventually became a business partner, and he kind of threw me the idea to try that model at our store. And so we tried it, and we gave it its own name and its own energy, and unfortunately that didn't work out. And what I learned from that partnership was just I built literally a foundation and a skeleton, because that to me was more interesting than the apparel side. I saw what it did for people. Playing a lot of basketball at that time, like I could resonate with what that shoe meant to someone else, which it's not the same these days. People don't really care what Mike did in that shoe. People don't really care like who performed in that shoe.
They don't remember the moment that goes along with that specific year or that specific model of shoe.
I mean, my last shot 14s, right, which were like a big thing back in the day, like they're about to come back out. They're gonna sit. They're not gonna sell out. And it's unfortunate, but it taught me a lot about the sneaker game at that time. And what had just launched right when we had launched that business was Instagram. And so I took it upon myself to present this business plan to another store in Burbank, and shout out to Backside Records. They were around for 21 years. And we got in there for the last year, doing just a sneaker department. And it was all through Instagram, a very low budget website that I built myself.
Nice.
And we grossed somewhere along the lines of $600,000 or $700,000 in like 9 months.
Wow.
Like gross sales.
Yeah.
So like our net wasn't crazy, but it was just like a proof of concept that from $1,000 loan, we were able to make those kind of numbers. And so that got the interest of an investor that was like kind of running around town, checking out sneaker stores because his kids loved it. And him and I linked up, and it's so funny, man. Like I had always talked to my brother, just like, man, like one day we're gonna be on Shark Tank. Like, we're gonna come up with an idea. It's gonna be good enough, and we're gonna end up on there and do a deal. And I've been fortunate enough now to have done like 2 like huge deals in figures that I never thought that we would even discuss.
Wow.
And it's crazy, man. Like seeing the growth and seeing where we've gone, like it has a lot to do with just who we are as people, number one,
definitely,
and how we've represented the brand. And that could have a lot to do with the people that we've aligned ourselves with.
Yeah.
Huge influencers, but also has to do with the staff and all that stuff, man. It's been crazy.
Well, and you're involved in a culture, and there's 2 things that I want to talk to you about, because you're going to be the knowledgeable one.
Yeah.
One is about the Yeezy sensation, because you had your store around, I feel like, the time where the Adidas side of them started to really take off.
Yeah.
What was it about, from your eyes, from being within the shoe culture? What was it about Yeezys that became this like icon of shoes so quickly?
Well, he's always been in his own light, definitely a style icon, and he's been a risk taker and an influencer, and obviously like a lot of success in his music and his approach and things like has influenced the success of certain models and all that. And I think the way they treated his first couple Yeezys with Nike really like catapulted this whole new level. Right. And when he left Nike and went to Adidas, which is literally right before we opened. And he had started wearing the Ultra Boost 1.0, and everybody's like, yo, like, what's this Ultra Boost? Like, these things are hot.
For real.
And they still are. Like, that 1.0 is, like, probably one of my favorite shoes ever, and it's super comfortable. But when he left, it's so funny, man. Like, I remember we hadn't opened yet, but the Yeezy 350 Turtle Dove, which was the second release, because the first release was a 750 in a gray with like kind of like an off-white kind of cream bottom. And man, it was crazy. That shoe was it retailed for $700, and then we're like, damn, like it's in for $1,500, $2,000, $3,000. We're like, and it's like only been released here, and we're like, there's something here. And even though, again, people are talking whatever they want to talk and saying like, oh, it's a men's UGG boot. It's this, it's that. But then everyone wants to wear it. And so we're like, okay, so there's something there. And then when the 350 dropped, everybody's like, oh my God, it's a potato sack. It's like the weirdest runner. Like, look at how incomplete it is, right? And I sat there and I was like, man, like, I think it's gonna hit. Like, I think it's gonna hit. I just don't know how much, but like, I think it's gonna hit. And the same exact Saturday, the Air Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard, the OG dropped. And we had to make a decision at the time, because our capital at the time wasn't like what it is, let's say, today. But we had to make a decision and say, okay, are we gonna go after Jay's? That's like been this like classic thing, or do we want to take a chance on these Yeezys that are like kind of running shoes? Like, I've never seen a running shoe go for like too much, right? And we like stacked up on Shattered Backboards, and I remember paying like $400 to $500 on Shattered Backboards. That literally did not go up in value for the longest time.
Really?
It took forever, and people were selling Turtle Doves left and right.
Crazy.
For $600. And that shoe today is, the Turtle Dove is now, I don't think you're finding them for less than $2,500 to like $3,000.
Crazy.
Brand new. And what's funny is, like, to me, like, that style, that like kind of like unfinished look with the back tab and things like that are very similar to now what like Virgil's doing with Off-White.
Definitely.
And it's crazy to see their worlds kind of like take over this industry. And the fact that the footwear in general was very limited with Adidas plan out the gate, because that Turtle Dove, there isn't that many pairs, number one. Number two, they didn't even come in half sizes. They only came in full sizes. And so the amount of Turtle Doves there were versus when we opened officially, we had the Pirate Blacks. And we felt like, all right, cool. I think we had like 60 pairs of Pirate Blacks out the gate. People were like, You know, like the most cocky thing we could have done was like we literally put like 30 pairs on the window.
Yeah.
And people were like, okay, like who are these guys? Like,
how the hell do they have their hands on this many pairs of Yeezys?
Yeah. And people, you know, they're like what the heck? Like what's going on? And so so when we opened up in Burbank and trust me, like, oh my God, so many people were like, why Burbank? Like that's so stupid. Like nobody ever go buy stuff there and pay that kind of money. And what's crazy is like that neighborhood, like first of all, I love it. Super dope.
Yeah.
Really nice neighborhood. And there's a bunch of vintage shops like up and down that store, up and down that block, and then Porto's Bakery.
Yeah.
Which is
always popping. We got a cake from there last night. I'm like, yo, there's nowhere that makes a better Tres Leches cake than Porto's.
Yeah, Porto's. And it's wild there, man. Like they're one of the highest rated bakeries in the country.
Yeah.
On Yelp. So it's like they're hot. So we're like, you know what? Like a lot of people already come to Porto's. Like we're gonna bank a little on that. We're gonna bank a little on trying to build this brand.
Yeah.
You know, we had a couple guys who vouched for us and really made people feel comfortable coming to see us and shop with us.
Yeah.
And, you know, from there it just became developing the relationships and continuing to show people what we're about.
And I feel like there's also something, and I remember about being a young kid, there's also something about going to a spot just to go to that spot.
Yes.
You know, like I remember I played hockey my whole life growing up. There was a hockey store in the middle of nowhere, but we all talked about it. Are you going to go this weekend? When are you going to go? Let's all go together.
Yeah.
And it was like a trip. You know what I mean? Like it's not like going to a mall and you walk around and you just happen to go to the store. It's like, no, my whole process of this weekend is planning, all right, I'm going to go get food over here, then I'm going to hit Mag Park on the way through.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that also revolves around that culture.
Yes. 100%. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you we've got the best deals in the country.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everything must go.
Yeah.
Like,
70% off everything in store.
Like we
said no shoe reseller ever.
Which, you know, it's crazy because like our margins are so slim as it is. You know what I mean? Like on like typical retail, you're making you have like a 50% cost of goods.
Yeah.
But our cost of goods is like probably like 85 to 90%.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like super high. It's all about just like selling as much as you can, right? And so it's like it's funny because it's hard to show love in some areas.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out, you know, I have so many friends and so many
I'm
people,
sure.
and you know, they think like I'm trying to come up or something.
It's like no, I paid almost this for the shoe.
Yeah.
And like, what's the point of me having it in my store if I give you for exactly that price, you know?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I'm always gonna steer friends or whoever to the right price, the right deal, even if it's not with me. Like it has nothing to do with me or you or or whatever, you know. But God, I lost my train of thought. We were talking about
price margins.
And just right before that, hold on.
Where we at? Well, we were in Yeezys. We were on
Yeezy, which he's still doing his thing.
Just still doing his thing. But you also have, and this is something I never, because I didn't grow up in America, so I didn't see it a lot in Australia as much out here. But Supreme, and what Supreme has done.
It's crazy.
Explain to me that, because I get it to a sense because I understand the culture.
Yeah. But
from an outsider, it's insane.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh man, I've been on Supreme since day one.
Yeah.
You know, my basic knowledge is it's a skate brand, been around since 94.
Yeah.
Started in New York. Eventually they opened their shop in LA, which I think even was carried at Union prior to Union becoming Union of today. And then it's had its own store, and you know, that's another example of just the power of influence, right? Like I remember Kanye wearing just a black on black box logo, or Travis Scott wearing a box logo, and just having that logo meant something, you know. And obviously there are collaborations that they've done over the years,
crazy,
super crazy, smart people, you know, brands that you're like, damn, like, you know, it's amazing that they've done those collabs. And then there's also the projects and collabs like making a brick.
Yeah.
That has their name on it.
They made a tent with North Face that I saw it just came out.
Yesterday.
Yeah. I'm like, who gonna be go camping in a Supreme tent?
Well, the tents, the size is like for like a dog. It's not even like a full-size tent.
Oh, okay. So it's not even for a person to use.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it's going for like $400 or $500.
But how have they managed to stay a brand that has continued to hold a value?
I think there's a lot of theories with that. I would say the biggest part is you can only get it from them, right? A lot of brands, clothing brands, up and coming brands are like, oh, I want to make this brand and I want to sell it everywhere. I want to sell all the cool spots. And then you go from all the cool spots, you're like, all right, well, I want to make it into a really big chain.
Yeah. And
then you make it to this really big chain. And then now you're everywhere. And now you're like, not that cool.
Popping.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You may be making a lot more money for the moment.
Yeah.
But brands like that can fizzle out a lot quicker.
Yeah. That's like sprint, right? But if you want to win the marathon, like you got to like be patient and pace yourself and not burn yourself out. And, I can say that as an observer. It's not like I've done it myself.
Yeah.
But, just seeing what they've done is, they'll only put so much out there. And I can't like fully speak on the experiences that I've had some of my guys have.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like really easy to walk in there and be like, I want my size, I want this size, and I want this color. It's like, nah, we'll give you this size and you'll get this color.
Yeah.
And you can only get one color, one size per style.
Yeah.
So like they really limit like how you're able to shop in there. And it's crazy because in the history of anything, like I don't recall anybody ever like really like stressing you.
Yeah, it's not like there's very place you can walk into a store and they're like, no, I'm not gonna sell you that.
Right.
But I have it.
Right.
But I think that's something about having control.
Yeah.
And by having control over their product, and I think that I guess Jordan does it as well, and Kanye has done it in the past as well, to a level of like, well, we're only going to put out 300 of these shoes or 1,000 of these shoes, because if you put out 10,000 of them, everyone can have it, and that's as soon as you lose value.
Right. But to that note, Kanye is trying to put out 1 million pairs of cream white Yeezys. Like he wants everybody to have them, and it's like, who knows how that'll react or how that might change anything. Yeah. But
I think I get what he's saying behind it. I think it would change his brand, and I think they would have to have the styles that were still limited.
Yeah.
Because the moment that everyone can have anything, people don't want to wear it.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you think you're going to walk down to the shop and every second person is going to be wearing the same shoe.
Yeah.
You might as well go buy a $30 New Balance or...
That could be subjective because, like, how many people are rocking Vans?
True. It is a staple for sure. But you lose the value of the conversation about the shoe.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, no one's going 100%. Like dope Vans, but they are like that. You may wear them all the time, but it's just a staple.
Yeah, exactly.
You ain't gonna see someone wearing it to a fashion show, and the people are gonna be, oh wow, the new 722 Vans is out,
Right.
But it was just fascinating. I wanted to get your opinion on those things because from an outsider and for a lot of people, they don't really understand how it works.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if somebody had to like leave or walk away from like our conversation and how to understand this world that I kind of like we operate from, right? Is I don't think I'm selling you a product. I don't look at it that way.
Yeah.
I'm selling an experience, but I'm also selling you convenience. Because the amount of work that goes into even having the opportunity to buy some of this stuff is dumb. Like legit dumb.
Yeah.
Like kids will wait for days. And here's my whole thing on it. Like if a shoe is retailing for $160 and you can sell it for $300. I said 160, right? So don't let me mess with the math.
Yeah.
So you're making $140 profit, right? Probably 130, 126 after
taxes,
right? And so, but you waited 2 days. So now you made $60 a day.
Mm-hmm.
For how many hours?
Yeah.
Like, you got to put a value on your time, right?
For sure.
Or you don't wait in that line and you just pay the $300
Yeah. Yeah.
plus tax.
Of course.
And you didn't have to spend 2 days with that kid to get that shoe.
Or be one of 1,000 people that hit on an app.
An app, right? And then the app's like, that's like the tease of a lifetime, right? Because like I've never won.
I know. You get that one or two friends, and I feel like they know, like, all right, let this friend win, because then he's going to have 10 friends around him that's going to be like, oh, wow, it's possible. You know, it's like the lottery. Come on, we get it.
It's tough. So with that, I don't even bother, because it's like, I don't want to wake up early. Like, I really don't wake up early.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is wake up at 7 in the morning and start my day off with a loss. But hey, preparing for the losses.
You're ready for those. You got to be ready for the loss. So when it happens, you're like, move on. We're still on with the day here.
That's not how I want to start my day, really. Yeah. But if I'm looking for a challenge, there it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's just, and same thing with Supreme. You know, like Supreme, a t-shirt will retail for $40, and the same day it's selling for $140. And sure, there's like a lot more being purchased within like a visit inside the store. Yeah. But like, you know, prior to now, they have this raffle system. And so it's making it a little easier for other people to get inside. Yeah. But prior to that, people were waiting in line for 6, 5, 4 days.
It's like, wild.
For what? Like, I mean, I get it for them, because there's been guys who will line up at Supreme for 4 or 5 days, and you know, the way it works is they'll go buy everything in the store, one of everything in the store, and then you're like, all right, I want your bag. Is the term, and you'll say, okay, cool. Well, how much is the price on your bag? And then they'll say $1,000.
So wait, someone will walk into the store, buy one of everything, walk out of the store, and sell it straight out the front.
Yes. Whether it's to somebody else, which it's frowned upon if you sell it in front of the store. Okay. And again, I don't even know how much people like discussing this, but it's just what it is, and everybody knows this information. But you know, they could either sell it right in front, which is frowned upon, or everybody just meets up somewhere, parking lot, some other store, whatever it may be, and you'll ask them, all right, well, how much is it worth? And then they're like, I want $1,000. It's 25 items. Yeah. Right? And you're just like, you do the math, you break it down, you're like, all right, 25 items, $1,000. This is how much each item goes up per item, right? Yeah. So that's why you buy as much as you can. Yeah. And then you got to make that decision. Is that worth
that amount,
that product? And is $1,000 worth this person's time? Yeah. Because tons of people get robbed. Yeah. Tons of people get hurt. I've heard of a dude getting stabbed. Yeah. Like,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. So the, you know, let's just call it privileged or blessed person that lives in Calabasas or like Woodland Hills, and they're like, I am not letting my 13 or 14-year-old go to Fairfax, be around that. Yeah. And even then, if he succeeds, walk out of there like
and untouched. Hope he doesn't get mugged out the front on the way to his car or the way whatever it is. So you're paying for safety almost as well, and convenience.
It's just convenience. Like we're a glorified Postmates warehouse, like, you know, all of that. Like it's just convenience, and like it's the price you put on your time, your life. Like it's unfortunate to look at it in that manner, but that's where we found kind of the ability to create this business model. And you know, I'll tell this to anybody and my friends and everyone else, like, I'm not really in the business to sell you something. Like I personally, like, I appreciate and respect and I'm grateful for everybody that supports our business, but if you do or you don't, it doesn't bother me. Yeah. Because either way, like, we're providing a service for somebody out there. It's not for everybody. Yeah. You know, like, I'm never gonna force somebody who's you know, I didn't grow up super like wealthy,
Yeah.
or did I get everything I ever wanted?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no. Like, I also wasn't broke. Like, every now and then, like, we'd get my brother and I could, you know, finesse our way into doing some chores and like,
Come on, it's one pair of shoes. Yes.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
to this day, I think get shit for like one pair of like Air Up Tempos. Because
Do you remember when we got you those shoes?
Yeah. Do you remember? And I got a parking ticket.
Yeah.
You know, like. Those shoes, and they always would add the parking ticket to the price of the shoe. Like, yo,
they're two separate incidents here.
Like,
come on, folks.
Yeah, it's not my fault you didn't check the meter. Like,
for real,
you're the grown up. Like, I can't.
So where's Mag Park going? You know, it's done so much in the last 2.5 years. You know, from 2018 to 2019. What are you trying to do with the brand?
So. Between now and 2019, we finally get to celebrate this 3-year anniversary.
Awesome, congrats!
Thank you. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah.
I don't foresee any us opening more stores. We've had opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's super dope to even be asked that. I think for now, what we're really focused on is a couple things, and that has to do with continuing to grow our inventory. You know, with the 5 locations, Burbank, Buena Park, Melrose, Topanga, which we started as a pop-up and now expanded into the full
store.
court.
Yeah.
And then Las Vegas just opened up inside of Planet Hollywood Miracle
Huge
Mile.
move getting out in Vegas.
Yeah, that's definitely by far like our biggest rent.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
And it's like not even our biggest store. I think it's like our 4th largest store.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So so in the future, I think what it just comes down to is now is like we have our kind of like our footprint where we need it to be.
Yeah. And
now it's just about continuing to grow, develop relationships with the brands that we have been working with. One of the main focuses for me this year is going to be just working with collaborations.
Yeah.
You know, I want to being a resale shop, being a consignment store, being that place for people has been cool.
Yeah.
But one of the things I definitely take a lot of pride in, and you know, with the help of our creative director Ron Holden, he's really put us in a position where, you know, we're doing things that I mean, I would have dreamt of, right?
Yeah.
Last year, our entire headwear program was with M.i.k.i. And that, you know, growing up, like just having jerseys and different things like that, and to be able to work with a company like M.i.k.i. who's so pro and so like quick, and you know, the ease of working with someone that's been doing it for so long is really dope. And we were grateful for the opportunity. And then moving on to the next chapter, you know, this year we're moving, if not all of our headwear program, it's coming to New Era.
Okay, yeah.
And then, like...
So you're going to have worked with M.i.k.i. and New Era, pretty much the only 2 hats most of us wore growing up ever.
Yeah. And so that's been crazy to even just think of that. And, you know, with Vegas opening up, we were given the opportunity to work with, like, the NBA Summer League and doing an official hat with them, branded with us. And, like, that's been crazy, you know? And opportunities are dope. Last year, we had for our 2-year anniversary. Yeah, we made a soccer jersey with Umbro.
Wow!
And shout out to Jay Balvin.
Yeah. Okay.
He rocked it during a huge charity thing. Yeah. And it was one of those things where it's like, okay, like, you know what, like, I think this brand thing like has some legs on it. Yeah. And so, you know, having that under our belt with the collaborations, it's like, okay, what can we do next? And so I don't want to like spoil or also not like jinx myself on the opportunities. Of course. But there's like a solid 4 to 5 collaborations that I want to like knock out. Exciting. Before the end of the year to like just really like kick us off into whatever's next. Yeah. So, you know, we're fortunate enough to be in an industry where like you don't have to look far to be inspired. You know what I mean? No, of course not. And it's funny because it's like I feel like we're in like a over-inspired like generation. Oh, yeah. 100%. Everywhere you look, you're like, wow, I could do that. But that's because of the ease of access to, you know, to content.
and to people that are doing amazing things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
At the same time. Because people don't value that information or that advice how they used to, because now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's hard to filter what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all you really got to do is, I could come on here and talk about this for 60 minutes, but then go home and lay down and fall asleep the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, who's really moving from one thing to the next and focused on
putting in the work, because it's
100%.
easy to see, someone standing next to a brand new shoe retail store like yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all is like, oh wow, he just opened a store.
Yeah.
They don't understand the years of succeeding and failing and learning, and then the 10 hours that go behind finding one shoe that you can put out on the floor. There's a lot that goes behind it, and that's why I really love to sit down with people on Game Changers and explain and see the struggles and the story that goes behind the people that are actually succeeding.
But shout out to you. I mean, even the sense of having a conversation about doing something versus, I'll see you here, let me know when you're here, we can hit this record button, let's get it done.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, let's see when it works out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a difference.
No, of course.
And having the that style of conversation and finding the people around you that are doers and not talkers is so key to growth.
Definitely.
Personally, and in whatever career you're searching for. Like,
no, for sure.
I think that's the biggest thing with even people who always DMs are popping.
Oh yeah.
but it's not like, in any form other than like kids and different people like requesting a m.i.k.i here, m.i.k.i there.
I'm the quickest to get out of the DMs. Like, I will, if I have someone that I don't know, I'll start the conversation and then it's, can I get your phone number? Because it's a different level of communication.
Yes.
When it's in an app, I believe, than through either a phone call, even a text message is very different. And that's something that I always say to, interns looking for jobs or people looking to like really connect. It's like, that may be your only access point into them.
Yeah.
But get out of it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
If it's a meetup, if it's meet them for lunch, meet them for a coffee, or it's, hey, can I grab your email or grab your phone number and move it to there, because that's when it starts to become, something more meaningful.
Yes, 100%. Because I'm sure you could vouch for this. There's definitely people in our lives that we talk to in every single form.
Yeah.
And every conversation is different.
Definitely. For sure. 100%. And it's so weird when you think about that. You're like, you're talking to them in a DM, or then you're talking to them on the phone, or then you're talking to them on Facebook, and it's like, you talk differently in every sense. It's like, what?
And then you're in person and you don't talk at all.
Yeah. What is going on in this world?
The world is crazy, man. But no, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, like, when people literally ask me all these questions, I'm like, well, ask me a specific question.
Yeah.
Don't ask me like, well, what's the first thing you have to do to start a store?
Or tell me what I should do.
Or tell me what I should do. What would you recommend?
How am I going to tell you what you should do? Ask a question that you want an answer to, and then go and use that to grow from. And that's honestly the exact reason behind Game Changers.
Yeah.
So thank you for being a game changer, man. More success and congratulations to everything so far.
Appreciate you.
And I'll continue to watch and support.
Thank you. Appreciate that.